Dive into the haunting world of the Dark Souls Trilogy, an iconic series that has redefined the landscape of gaming with its intricate lore and challenging gameplay. This episode uncovers the evolution of its design, the philosophy behind its punishing difficulty, and the cultural impact that has captivated millions of players worldwide. Join us as we explore what makes Dark Souls a monumental achievement in video game history. The origins of the Dark Souls trilogy can be traced back to the original Demon Souls, released in 2009. Developed by From Software and directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki, Demon Souls laid the groundwork for what would become the hallmark features of the series. This title introduced players to a dark, interconnected world where death was not just a mechanic, but a part of the narrative. In Demon Souls, players traverse the kingdom of Boletaria, a land corrupted by a mysterious fog and filled with monstrous enemies. The game's mechanics encouraged exploration while punishing failure. Players would drop their collected souls upon dying, creating a high-stakes environment. This respawn mechanic, paired with a unique online multiplayer system where players could see the ghosts of others and leave messages, set a precedent for Dark Souls. Dark Souls, released in 2011, expanded upon these concepts significantly. It took everything that was loved about Demon Souls and polished it with deeper lore and more fluid mechanics. For instance, the world of Lordran is not only expansive, but intricately interconnected. Players can often traverse between areas with shortcuts that hark back to the design ethos of classic Metroidvania games. This approach to world design became a blueprint for future titles within the genre. The storyline of Dark Souls is often more abstract, embedding lore within item descriptions and environmental storytelling. Unlike many games that deliver narratives through cutscenes, Dark Souls requires players to piece together the backstory of the world and its characters. A misconception emerges here. Players new to the series can feel lost, believing the lack of traditional storytelling methods is a fault. In reality, this ambiguity encourages exploration and personal interpretation of the narrative, making each player's experience uniquely their own. The emotional weight of Dark Souls is amplified through its mechanics. The series is notorious for its difficulty, but behind that challenge lies a philosophy of player growth. As players die, they learn, either from their mistakes with enemies or through the variations in combat that require adaptability and strategic thinking. For instance, learning an enemy's attack patterns leads to a sense of triumph when players finally defeat them. This cycle fosters resilience, making victories all the more satisfying. In addition to gameplay mechanics, the visual design plays a critical role in immersing players in the dark, brooding atmosphere of the trilogy. The Gothic architecture and haunting landscapes are reinforced by haunting musical scores, creating a palpable sense of dread and wonder. The aesthetic choices reflect not only the theme of despair, but also evoke feelings of nostalgia for classic RPGs. As we move into Dark Souls 2, released in 2014, it's crucial to discuss the mixed reception it received. While some praised its expanded lore and environmental design, others felt it deviated too far from the original spirit. Dark Souls 2 introduced features like a more forgiving health mechanic, where players could restore health by consuming items, diverging significantly from the series' punishing nature. Critics often cite this gentler approach as a point of contention, as it strained the franchise's established identity. The game also introduced the concept of the hollowing mechanic on a broader scale, where players not only faced enemies, but engaged with their own mortality within the game world. This enforced narrative of loss serves as a continuous reminder of the cost of failure, adding depth even amidst criticisms. One notable feature was the ability to change the player's appearance through the hollowing process, an integral part of character development that reinforced the themes of identity and despair. Dark Souls 2's level design diverged at times to feel more segmented and less cohesive than its predecessor, leading to debates among fans about the success of its approach. While exploring this installment, it's essential to note the allure of certain areas, like Majula, which serves as a hub. Unlike the interconnectedness of Lordran, Majula is more open, allowing players a moment of respite, a design choice that influenced the player's emotional journey through hardship. Then, on to the crown jewel of the trilogy, Dark Souls 3, released in 2016. This title sought to encapsulate the essence of both its precursors while refining gameplay mechanics and world design. From its hauntingly beautiful environments like Lothric Castle to the intricate lore surrounding the Fire and the Age of Dark, it became clear that the developers respect the legacy while pushing forward. One notable aspect of Dark Souls 3 is its deliberate callbacks to the earlier games. Players encounter iconic characters and locations, providing a sense of nostalgia that deepens the engagement. However, the nostalgia is not merely fan service. It intertwines with the plot's themes of looping and cyclical nature of fate. The game explores the ongoing battle between the concepts of light and dark, forging a connection to the overarching narrative of rebirth and stagnation in the series. One common misconception surrounding Dark Souls 3 is regarding its difficulty. While it follows the signature challenging gameplay of its predecessors, many players found it more approachable. This balancing act of crafting difficulty is a testament to the series' evolution. Enhancements like more responsive controls and a diverse range of weapons empower players to experiment with different combat strategies more effectively. The trilogy culminates in a finale that is both satisfying yet melancholic. Throughout the series, players often find themselves grappling with themes of sacrifice, loss, and the inevitable nature of change, culminating in Dark Souls 3's narrative. Choices players make not only affect aim mechanics, but also enrich their experience, as their satisfaction in overcoming challenges resonates deeply on an emotional level. An interesting facet of the Dark Souls trilogy is its impact on gaming culture. Since its release, terms such as Souls-like have sprung up, referencing not just difficulty, but the intricate level design and deep narrative focused on player interpretation. Developers have expressed admiration for the series, noting how it has shifted expectations for game mechanics, particularly in creating rewarding and challenging gameplay. This influence is palpable in various genres, where games adopt the Souls ethos of interconnected worlds or intricate storytelling, all while trying to capture the complex feelings of accomplishment that comes from persevering through hardship. As we delve deeper into the post-launch life of the trilogy, we can't ignore the expansive community it fostered, from art based on characters to intricate fan theories unraveling its lore. The Dark Souls fandom engaged at levels typical of committed communities. Designers and players alike shared their experiences, often through YouTube channels or forums, generating extensive discourse surrounding strategies, lore interpretations, and the emotional experiences encapsulated within the games. It's important to highlight that within this community, misconceptions continue to float around, particularly regarding the perceived exclusion of casual players. While the series is undoubtedly challenging, many gamers find that it offers flexibility through diverse playstyles. For instance, experimenting with builds allows players to define their unique paths through the game, creating accessibility in ways that might not be immediately apparent to newcomers. Exploring speedruns is another fascinating facet of the community's engagement. Players have subjected the games to rigorous analysis, uncovering glitches, route optimizations, and exploiting game mechanics. This phenomenon adds an entirely new layer to the experience that showcases the triumph of player ingenuity. Many have fashioned creative challenges, pushing the boundaries of the developer's intentions in an impressive display of skill and holistic understanding of the game's mechanics. As we continue to discuss the ongoing legacy of the Dark Souls trilogy, it's imperative to consider its impact on subsequent titles within and beyond the genre. Action RPGs have taken cues from its success, but others that delve into rich narratives now look at Dark Souls for inspiration in marrying story with gameplay. The thematic elements present throughout, from the ambiguous moral choices to the gritty realism of consequences, provide fertile ground for storytelling beyond mere gameplay. Developers now strive to create worlds filled with lore that feels just as vital as the act of playing. Moreover, the influence of Dark Souls has sparked an interest in narrative-driven games that prioritize discovery over exposition. Titles like Bloodborne, which also comes from Software, echo the intricate world-building and challenging gameplay elements, yet explore different lore themes altogether. This evolution showcases how Dark Souls has reinvigorated a sector of game development, encouraging fresh narratives that fly against traditional storytelling methods. What's next for the franchise? Rumors of a possible remaster or future titles continue to circulate. Given the trilogy's success, many are eager to see how the themes, mechanics, and lore will evolve in new iterations. The anticipation also serves as a reminder of how deeply Dark Souls has embedded itself into the fabric of gaming culture. This intricate dance of mechanics, lore, player engagement, and cultural impact solidifies the Dark Souls trilogy not just as a series of games, but as a pivotal moment in gaming history, redefined through its immersive experiences and lasting resonance. The blend of challenge with deep storytelling invites players to forge their destinies in a world as dark and complex as life itself. How this narrative unfolds in the future remains to be seen, yet it's clear that the legacy of Dark Souls will continue to inspire both players and creators in exciting and unexpected ways. As we delve deeper into the Dark Souls trilogy, it's worth examining not only the gameplay mechanics, but also how the series engages with philosophical themes. Each installment embraces existentialism, touching on the nature of life and death, the passage of time, and the weight of fate. Players encounter characters that embody these philosophies through their struggles, often reflecting broader existential dilemmas. Take, for instance, the character of Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight, in the original Dark Souls. His story is a tragic reflection of a ruler who sacrifices his essence to stave off the darkness, representing themes of sacrifice and purpose. Players can interpret Gwyn's actions in myriad ways, as a desperate bid for immortality, a misguided attempt to save his world, or a poignant reminder of how power can corrupt even the noblest intentions. This narrative depth stimulates player introspection, inviting them to contemplate their own choices both in-game and in life, emphasizing how games can serve as mirrors to our existence. Themes of despair and resilience permeate every aspect of gameplay as well. The infamous difficulty of Dark Souls is not merely a game design choice, but a reflection of philosophical struggles. The constant cycle of death, learning, and overcoming insurmountable odds can be perceived as an allegory for life's challenges. Each defeat is an opportunity for growth, echoing the Nietzschean idea that what does not kill me makes me stronger. This existential resilience is one of the reasons players find the series compelling. They are not just overcoming a challenge, but engaging in a dialogue with the very idea of perseverance. Examining the mechanics of death in Dark Souls provides further insight into its philosophical underpinnings. When players die, they lose their accumulated experience points, known as souls, but they can reclaim these by reaching the spot of their demise without dying again. This mechanic symbolizes the idea of learning from failure. Each death is a teachable moment, with failure becoming a key part of the journey. The necessity to confront past mistakes creates a sense of urgency and determination, echoing the struggle within one's own life to learn and improve from setbacks. Dark Souls also challenges the traditional structure of games with its non-linear storytelling. Players are not simply led through a scripted narrative. Instead, they piece together the lore through item descriptions, environmental storytelling, and NPC interactions. This approach encourages exploration and interpretation, making the player an active participant in crafting their own understanding of the world and its history. For example, the lore surrounding the Firelink Shrine is rich and layered. It serves as a hub for players and is intricately connected to multiple characters, each with their unique storylines and motivations. Engaging with these characters reveals fragments of history that connect the player to the broader mythos of the world. Characters like the Firekeeper or the enigmatic Knight Solaire of Astora illustrate the player's quest not just for personal victory, but also for the relationships they forge, which become vital in understanding the nuances of the game's universe. The way Dark Souls rewards curiosity is a stark departure from more linear games that dictate experience through cutscenes and dialogue trees. Instead, it invites players to explore and verify their understandings of the lore. Collecting and interpreting pieces like the fragmented tales of the gods, ancient regions, and long-gone civilizations fosters a sense of nostalgia for the world itself, intensifying emotional stakes as players invest in understanding a universe that is both beautiful and tragic. Another critical theme the series grapples with is the notion of identity, and transformation through suffering. As players progress, they embody the narrative of the undead, characters cursed to return from death, but not without consequence. This curse, representative of their struggles, mirrors the journey of many individuals in real life who face ongoing battles with their own identities and experiences. This aspect of identity is further echoed through the game's character creation and progression systems, which allow players to mold their characters and build unique personas in response to the challenges they face. Emphasis on customization is a testament to the ideology that each player's journey is wholly unique. This notion not only personalizes the experience but also underlines the theme that while all may share the same world, the paths we choose and the identities we construct are what truly define our experiences. Moreover, the series doesn't shy away from societal critique. Elements such as the cyclical nature of fire and dark and the clash between light and shadow resonate with themes of decay and renewal, reminiscent of real-world histories and philosophies. The chaos incurred by weaving various paths echoes our own societal struggles, the clash of ideologies, the fragility of peace, and the threat of entropy. Interestingly, acolytes of the games often find the central themes resonate with the very nature of gaming culture itself. The competitive spirit, community-building elements, and pooling of knowledge, from online forums to cooperative gameplay strategies, encapsulates a shared journey through hardship, heavily mirroring the themes of struggle and guilds in the game. As the trilogy progresses, the scope of these themes expands, such as in Dark Souls 2, where the narrative delves deeper into the duality of memory versus truth, characters representing either a longing for the past or a troublesome acceptance of reality. This is starkly presented through the lens of the game's world, which itself is a reflection of how players grapple with their perceptions of games. Stories and their own histories, Dark Souls 3 heightens this exploration of resilience and identity. One notable character, Lorien, Elder Prince, embodies the struggle against both fate and personal demons, questioning the cyclical nature of despair. The player's encounters with this character showcase how these themes are not isolated, but interconnected within the broader narrative tapestry. Each character, each choice, and each hard-fought victory builds upon the legacy of those who came before them, compelling players to reflect on their impact on the world's history and live out their own version of victory over despair. Moreover, among the myriad facets that contribute to Dark Souls' enduring impact is the concept of character storytelling versus player storytelling. Through meticulous environmental details, players discover indirect shaping of the narratives, rich with implications, yet left open to interpretation, a hallmark of powerful storytelling in any medium. This underlying choice creates not just a connection to the world, but also creates a subtext of player agency, allowing their unique narratives to evolve in parallel. Delving further into the interconnectedness of the series, it's fascinating to note how the world design plays a crucial role in amplifying these themes. The intricate level design allows players to traverse different environments that interconnect in seemingly paradoxical ways, reinforcing the concept of the cycle of life and death. Locations from one game to the next echo the choices and paths taken by players, allowing for a richer experience that transcends beyond individual titles. The designers of the Dark Souls Trilogy purposefully embrace this interconnectedness. By tying levels and artifacts throughout the games into cohesive thematic strands, they ensure that the environments are as crucial to the story as the characters themselves. Each area, filled with its own history and lore, contributes to the collective narrative, demonstrating how every action leaves an imprint, visually represented by scars on the landscape, the ghosts of previous players lingering in the shadows. Despite the expansive worlds and deeply woven narratives, tension remains ever present in Dark Souls. The sense of urgency when faced with formidable foes reflects the eternal struggle against the insurmountable. Areas like Anor Londo and the Abyss demonstrate combat mechanics in perfect harmony with lore-heavy placements, where light and shadow play with the architectural brilliance of the environments around it. How players navigate these spaces speaks directly to their growth and adaptability, showcasing their evolution as they learn to exploit the mechanics to overcome their perceived inadequacies. The varying enemy designs throughout the trilogy serve as additional reflections of these existential struggles. Each foe embodies a different philosophy, approach, and challenge to the player, mirroring life's myriad obstacles. For instance, the antagonistic presence of the towering knights invokes a sense of impending doom, reminiscent of death. Highlighting the struggle against overwhelming odds, the challenge of each enemy leads to a profound understanding of not just mechanics, but an awareness of self, the eternal struggle of the player becoming a central theme, illustrated through confrontation. As we unravel these layers, it becomes evident that the influence of the Dark Souls trilogy extends beyond mere gameplay. It has reshaped the way game developers approach narrative and mechanics, challenging conventions and pushing the boundaries of interactive storytelling. The lessons learned from the trilogy echo throughout the gaming landscape, inspiring new titles and developers striving to capture that same sense of immersion and depth. In recognizing the cultural impact and resonance of these themes, it becomes clear that the legacy of Dark Souls serves as a testament to the power of video games as a medium for storytelling. The challenges players face are neither random nor arbitrary, but serve to reinforce the philosophical and existential themes that permeate each frame of the narrative. As we continue to uncover more about the trilogy and its impact, we'll examine further how gameplay mechanics can intertwine with storytelling to foster a deeper emotional connection, allowing players to experience both struggle and triumph in ways that transcend the screen. Next, we turn our attention to the game's music and audio design, which play an equally pivotal role in conveying its themes of despair and resilience. The soundscapes are not merely ambient. They serve as an emotional narrative thread, guiding players through their arduous journey and heightening their awareness of the world around them. As we wrap up our exploration of the Dark Souls trilogy, we've delved into its origins with Demon Souls, the intricate world design and abstract storytelling of Dark Souls, and the series' profound impact on the gaming landscape. Through its mechanics and emotional weight, Dark Souls has redefined how we understand interaction and narrative in video games, leaving a lasting legacy. If you want to go deeper, dive into the lore with a dedicated read of the Dark Souls companion literature, which unpacks the game's hidden stories and themes. Explore online communities and forums to engage with other fans and share your interpretations of the game's nuanced storytelling. Listen to the in-game soundtrack, focusing on how the music complements the atmosphere and enhances emotional engagement during key moments of gameplay. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Dark Souls trilogy. Until next time, keep exploring the depths of gaming's narratives. This podcast was generated by AutoIntellect's Podcaster Generator AI. To generate your own podcasts, check out autointellect.org, linked in the channel.